So the house was built in the 50s, and my father owned it as a rental for a long time. Then I bought it from his estate.
Is this where the police were most of the time?
In the winter, that's why there's the new grass, because that's where the tent was for forensics.
The police are gone, so is the evidence.
And it's a small step to make
Karen
it back
Fraser
in
is now
hours.
left to imagine.
They basically had to do the whole yard. The dogs indicated that there were problems, so. And the
Problems in terms of things that
there were things. I think items of interest is a nice, safe phrase, isn't it?
For months, Karen's home was a crime scene. Her life trapped in a horror story that wouldn't end, as police found the body parts of one victim after another.
The police rappelled down there, and these are the shots that everyone saw of them digging this out.
The last of the remains were found dumped back here this past July.
We thought it was over, that they were just coming here to be thorough, of course, and we didn't think they would find anything. And of course they did within hours. I guess our brains kept saying, there, it's done. There, we're fine now. But it just kept moving. More happened. So yeah, it was harder. It was a very odd time.
The fragments of this story are nightmarish, and Karen still struggles to piece them together. Bruce McArthur, the man accused of murdering 8 men, was her gardener for a decade.
We still have trouble putting the man that we knew together with this alleged serial killer. And no, there was never a hint. No temper. Nothing. Nothing where you look back and say, well, I'm stupid. There it was. I should have seen it. Nothing.
Welcome to today's discussion about media coverage of the Bruce McArthur case.
Yet there has been so much curiosity, especially by the media, fascinated by a murder investigation so vile it shocked even the most veteran detectives.
Now, all the media were bugging me to give our personal story.
Karen has come here twice now to speak to journalism students at Toronto's Ryerson University.
We had no idea what had happened. We sat for about 4 hours in a very cold police station waiting to be questioned.
She wants them to know how powerless she felt, how she lost control over her own story and is only now getting it back.
It's a bit strange because when you're in the middle of it, you don't realize how big the story is. But talking to the people who will be covering stories, hopefully not like this one, that's part of making it better.
Karen has never had media back here, and this is her first television interview. Questions still overwhelm her.
How did you deal with it? How did you deal with the information of what had happened in your home or outside your home?
Well, a lot of it I really have locked in a cupboard in the back of my mind. And every once in a while, must be an old cupboard because the door pops open on its own. And bits of it try to come out. I'm not ready to see them yet, so I just shut the door. And it doesn't mean it's weighing on me, it's just, it has to be processed. And we don't know everything yet. I think when I think I know everything about what happened or whatever we're going to be able to know, then I'll look at all of it, I would think.
That refusal is a form of protection while she reclaims her story with help. Church volunteers planted flowers in her backyard. The garage, where police found planters with human remains, painted over with a quote honoring kindness.
Karen, you were saying that Ian had you guys over for dinner, or?
And his mom?
She and her partner, Ron Smith, were forced out of their home for weeks while police scoured the property.
How much did you rely on the kindness of your neighbors?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, saw us through, literally.
Did they?
Because, you know, we had no work, we had no house.
You know, whatever doesn't break you makes you stronger. And we think it's strengthened relations amongst the community, which is particularly good. So every now and then a little bit of good can come out of something really bad. You know, something we all need to keep in mind.
They seem so resolute, but haunted too. On the porch, a candle burns for the victims. A reminder, this was not just a crime scene, it was also a graveyard.
It's appalling. My only bad moments is when my mind wanders to the last few minutes of the victims. And I can barely stand to have that drifting through my mind. So I take that and put it in a box, shove it in the cupboard, shut the door again.
It's clear she's not ready to unleash it all, and yet she won't leave it all either.
Have you thought of leaving?
Oh, absolutely not. No, it's ours. We loved it. We have a great time. Why would we let an evil person take our life apart? Unacceptable. Not going to happen.
Do you get angry when you think of him?
No. Sad. Just sad.
Sad, why?
Well, he seemed to have a good life. Where on earth did these demons come from? And why would you keep going? It's just beyond me.
And Joanna Remiliotis is here. Joanna, you can hear her there saying, she wants to stay, but I'm imagining people at home thinking, how can she possibly stay?
Well, she says it's her home and it's been her home for decades, and she just refuses to let, as she says, evil control her life. So a lot of it, once the police left, was about reclaiming her home. They painted the garage, and now this weekend they're hosting what they're calling a cleansing ceremony. And that's a really important step, she says. They're bringing religious leaders, people from the community who supported them all this time. And Karen Fraser says this is all about changing the energy of her home.
We just thought if we had three people from different Christian, Muslim point of view coming in and cleaning the spirit of it. It's a continuation of doing the garage, and that really worked.
I know you. I know you've been spending a lot of time with Karen. What is your gut about how she's coping?
She's honest about saying that she's not, in the sense that she's not dwelling on this very horrific reality that unfolded in her backyard. So while she's putting one foot forward, and really you get that sense when you meet her in the piece, she's very stoic. But right now, she says, she's just not at a place where she wants to dwell on what happened. But it's about moving forward and at the same time putting up the fences. One of the worst things, she says, of this has been what she calls the tourists, the gawkers who come by her house. There's so many of them that come by every day. And she hopes that will eventually fade. And at the same time, the story is not over yet. And she's heard that some of the victims' families want to come and visit her property because that's where their loved ones were. So she's open to that. But at some point soon, she hopes that the fences will go up, people will leave, and eventually she can live her life away from the spotlight.
Well, in the moment, just blocking for now. Joanna, thanks very much.
You're welcome.